53 years. We've waited a long time, Knick Nation. In the words of Sam Rosen, this one will last a lifetime. The New York Knicks are your 2026 NBA champions. Never thought in my life I would see this day. Probably not anyone thought they would see this day. After years of torture, after years of terrible seasons, after years of what could have been, what should have been, players we could have had. All that now is erased. No more. We hold a title now. The New York Knicks hold a title now. A team that this didn't get built overnight. It didn't get built in a year. It didn't get built in a month or a week or a day. The turn started 9 years ago. 9 years ago. Let's actually go back 8 years ago. 2018-19 was some of the worst years if you were a Knick. But, things started to maybe give you a little hope. It was too early to say complete hope, but early. 2018, the Knicks drafted a young guy out of Pensacola, Florida. Second round, 36th pick in the draft. A big man named Mitchell Robinson. You didn't know much about him yet. You knew he was very good on defense, could block. Little did we know how long was he going to be a Knick? Was he going to even stay here? Well, he was here for some of the tough years of this franchise. Couple bad seasons. Fizdale, I think, was coach at the time, if I remember correctly. It was not a good time to be a Knick that year. Okay. Then we fast forward a little bit. We fast forward to the following year, 2019. Knicks had the number 3 pick in the draft, and they took R.J. Barrett. Some people thought the Knicks should have taken, could have had Zion, but it didn't fall the Knicks' way. R.J. was a decent player, gave some good things here with the Knicks. Took a couple years for him to really show you what he was capable of, but he gave you a little bit of reason to hope. Small, but little bit. 2020, the Knicks finally hire a head coach that would alter the direction of this franchise, to begin the change, to finally put away years of failure and misery. They bring in Tom Thibodeau. COVID-shortened year. But Thibodeau began something. Knicks finally started to play winning basketball. Gave you some reason to hope. The Knicks then started to get the right pieces in their management. Getting guys like Leon Rose, Worldwide Wes. Finally, James Dolan learned how to back off and let these guys do their jobs and build a winning basketball team. And slowly but surely, the pieces started to come together. Not right away, of course. It took time. All right, so you already had Barrett. You bring in Emmanuel Quickly, who you got in a trade. So he wasn't a Knick to begin with, but the Knicks were able to get him in a trade. Quickly was originally drafted by OKC in 2020. He joined the Knicks, would be there for about 3 years. And he formed a nice tandem with R.J. Barrett. Okay. Then along came a Knick that would really transform and change the direction of the franchise in a positive way. It took time, of course, again. But 2019, going into for the next 5 years, along came Julius Randle. Was a solid scorer for the Knicks. Proved that he could carry a team for a period of time and instilled a more positive culture to win games, understanding not just to, hey, get to the playoffs, but start to build some playoff caliber moments. And he did. But the Knicks needed more than that. So now we fast forward to 2022. And yes, it was tough to kind of go out with the old and in with the new and make some bold moves that maybe, the Knicks weren't ready to take, but it was needed if they were going to go to the next level. 2022 is when the Knicks' fortunes finally changed. You welcome in Jalen Brunson. Played 4 years as a Maverick. Had talent, but did anybody think Brunson was going to be a game changer? Well, he became one above and beyond. Became one of the most important Knicks to transform the culture for good of this franchise. And finally put the Knicks in newer heights they never thought they would reach. Then more pieces started to come. Eventually, Julius Randle was traded, along with another Knick that the Knicks brought in a couple of years as well, Dante DiVincenzo. And they were brought over for Karl Anthony Towns. Spent his whole career with Minnesota. Was a solid scorer. Was always called the best scoring big man in the NBA. But he couldn't play defense. He got into foul trouble all the time. He couldn't find his true calling until he came to the Knicks. Took him time to develop into the player he is now. But it was well worth it. Then you bring in Mikal Bridges. 5 draft picks it cost you to get Mikal Bridges. Everybody was killing the Knicks for making this move. It was thought, Knicks are going to be set back how many years because of this? It's going to fail. It's not going to pan out. But Mikal Bridges proved his worth. These playoffs, he really showed you, put the ball in his hands, he could change a game. And today he did. And throughout these playoffs, for the most part, he did. Then you make another trade. You end up trading the number 3 draft pick that you got in 2019 in R.J. Barrett, along with Emmanuel Quickley, who you got in the trade from the Thunder in 2020. You deal them to the Raptors for OG Anunoby. OG was a very solid, regarded player, great defensive player. Tom Thibodeau loved him. Played the game right, very humble. But when would he elevate his game to just being a defense player? Would he become a scoring threat? Well, with the Knicks, OG became that. He became one of the best two-way players in the game today. All the pieces had to fall correct for the Knicks to get to this title. Took patience, took time, took luck without a doubt. And finally, after years of coming up short, coming this close, never getting over the hump, finally the Knicks got their moment. And slowly but surely over the last couple of years, the Knicks were getting in the playoffs and not just getting in, but going deep. Finally reaching the conference finals for the first time in 25 years, just a couple of years ago. Fell short to Indiana twice. Knicks fans felt that pain. How many times had the Knicks fallen short so many times? Couldn't win that game 7 that could have moved them into the NBA Finals. Couldn't win, couldn't get that lucky bounce. Couldn't get that big turning point play. Well, it finally happened. It finally went the Knicks' way. This core of Knicks all brought something different to the table. Whether you were on the bench, players like Jose Alvarado came over from the Pelicans, was a New York native. You knew Alvarado could change the culture here, be a difference maker, and he did. Hit some huge shots in game 4, which allowed the comeback with OG's tip-in, which is going to be well spoken throughout New York history forever. Keeping Landry Shamet. People thought, oh, well, Shamet wasn't going to be that big a difference maker. Oh, boy, was he. When we needed him in critical moments, he came up big. If it wasn't in game, without him in game 3, the Knicks don't, without him in game 2, and in game 1, also, the Knicks really don't set the tone for the finals. Now, do they? Just every piece that came to the Knicks this year brought some contribution. Didn't have to be only scoring. Could have been a defensive play. Could have been a game-saving play. Then you also had, of course, well, another Villanova kid that came over here. Good friend of Brunson's and Josh Hart. Does Josh Hart light up a score sheet? No, he doesn't. Okay? He doesn't score 30 points a night. He makes the plays that are not shown on the score sheet. He'll go after the loose ball. He'll make that extra rebound. He might give you that extra possession. Something that doesn't always go noticed in a game. You need players that can make winning plays. Doesn't have to be by scoring. Well, Josh Hart did that a lot throughout the time he's been a Knick. And he's become a fan favorite here in the couple years he's been a Knick. And I think he's going to stay a Knick for the rest of his life. I don't think he needs to go anywhere but here in New York. The Knicks changed so many things here. Leon Rose not only had a knack for finding good talent and getting the right pieces here, he wanted to build a family culture here. Mike Brown instilled that culture, too, in his first year as a head coach. It was tough not retaining Tom Thibodeau. But at the end of the day, it was a move that had to be made. I know it was hard to swallow, but you see why Mike Brown was able to bring a title here that Tibbs, unfortunately, did not. Mike Brown used his bench. Mike Brown trusted his bench. Mike Brown was not afraid to go to the bench. And if pieces were working from the bench, he would stay with it. He would stick with it. He would go with his gut. He felt it could change the tide of a game. And that's what Mike Brown did the entire playoff. If he saw something was working, he stayed with it. He knew the Spurs were tiring in game 4. He went with a smaller lineup using Brunson and Alvarado. And it changed the course of that game and the series. He turned Karl Anthony Towns into a facilitator instead of just a spectator. Cat went from being a top scorer to being a number 2. Setting up plays for everybody else. And if he had to take some baskets, he will. Cat developed into a number 2 option. Something no other coach was able to get out of Cat, including playing defense and being a team player. Something even Tibbs could not do. But Mike Brown did. So now the story has been written. A championship is won. Now the question will be, can the Knicks win another? I still think the window is there for them to win another. The league will be adjusting. The Pacers will be back. Stronger than ever. Halliburton will be back in the lineup next year. The Spurs, tip your cap to the Spurs. They challenged the Knicks harder than any team in these playoffs, other than Atlanta. No games were runaways. No games felt safe. But the Knicks were able to prove they could win the games in crunch time, even when the Spurs were leading, even when the Spurs dominated the first half. The Knicks continued to chip and push and just keep fighting. And when the door opened, the Knicks broke through the door and didn't hold back. Jalen Brunson, Finals MVP with 45 points, surpassing even what Walt Frazier did when the Knicks won their chip in 1973, when he scored 36. Knick Nation, celebrate this. You have now inspired, the 2026 Knicks have inspired a new generation. A young group of Knick fans are now going to tell their kids, tell their children, tell their great-grandchildren, etc., where they were the day the Knicks won their first title in 53 years. As for me, I had just made it back from vacation. I literally was, earlier today, I was in our nation's capital. Just finishing up vacation, made it home in time, 6 o'clock or so, made it home in time for Game 5. I never thought I would see this day, just as much as I don't think any fan would have seen this day. But it's reality now. Redemption for all the Knick legends that came short of this title for all these years. Redemption for Patrick Ewing. Redemption for Allen Houston. Redemption for John Starks. Redemption for Latrell Sprewell. Redemption for Marcus Camby. Redemption for Rick Brunson. Redemption for Harper. Redemption for Charles Oakley. All the Knicks that were part of the 90 teams. All those Knick teams from 99, from 94. Glad they were all here to see this moment. Glad they were here to finally witness and cherish this moment. Happy for Jalen. Won the title that eluded his dad. It's great to see his son did. His son finally reached the top of the mountain. Great for both of them. So Knick Nation, enjoy. Never let this moment die. And in just a few days, Thursday for that matter, a parade down the Canyon of Heroes. All looking forward to that. Jonathan Pariente, the Beast of the East, saying goodbye, good night. And to my man, the Mouth, who went down to MSG today, was with the Knick faithful, down 34th. Shout out to you, my friend. I'm glad you got to witness this moment too. To everyone on my crew, we never stopped believing in the Knicks. And now a dream has been realized. The title's home in New York, where it belongs. You can listen to Downtown Sports 24 different platforms. We're on Spotify for Creators, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Bullhorn, Podbay, Listen Notes, Podcast Addict, Verbal, Castro.fm, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Audible, Podvine, Podyssey, Odyssey, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, TuneIn, YouTube, and TikTok. Episodes, rants, digital market battle specials every week. Downtown Sports, where sports come home. Jonathan Periente, the Beast of the East, saying goodbye, good night. Go New York. Go New York. Go.